looked good, like I could play. But obviously, at practice, it just wasn't there. Tried to push through it, tried to fight from it, but some things you just can't control, and that's one of those things that we didn't want to push too much.
Didn't you get complicated? Wasn't there an ankle or something during your comeback at some point?
Well, whenever I broke it, there was some ankle stuff that kind of got messed up in there as well. So it just kind of was a never-ending process until everything got healed up together.
How much did you talk to Charlie about? I remember we asked him about it. He had a similar, I guess, very similar injury, right?
I talked to him a little bit right after it first happened, and then there towards the end, whenever I felt like it was fine to walk on, but I couldn't really push off of it too much. Just seeing if he had the same complications that I did. And, they said everything was normal, so I didn't think too much about it.
How many offensive line snaps did you get last season after your injury when you came back?
Like 2, maybe.
Is it the Auburn game?
Yeah, I think so. It wasn't a lot.
And what's it like now then to be back in the mix? I know there's a lot of shuffling on the line, that kind of thing, but how do you feel like you're doing out there?
It's great. I mean, personally, I don't feel any difference. My teammates, I feel like they can see that. I think me being out last year allowed us to grow more depth. So that's only going to help us in the long run.
There's a lot of competition. How do you foresee, kind of things shaking out? I know Cade is, getting a lot of reps elsewhere.
That's a good question. I honestly couldn't tell you. We're splitting reps about even now, and Coach Pitt's got a good plan of what he wants to do, so he's going to do what he feels like's best, and we just got to roll with it.
Those one-on-one drills, we see videos of them, and they look like pretty massive. I mean, what is it really all about for you guys when you do those hit drills? Does it just get you fired up, or is it a pride or a unit thing?
It's like Coach Pitt says, we got to start the party, and that helps us do it at the beginning of practice. So going out there and hitting somebody in the head, if that's what it does, and that's what it does.
Jamari Sawyer seems like someone that's taking some strides. What are you seeing from him that you may be different from last year?
Jamari is unbelievably smart. He's got great football sense, knows the game really well, sees things before it happens, and he wants to get better. Jamari loves the game, so he's going to go out there every day and do what he's asked to do. So I think that's going to be his biggest attribution, is just being a flexible player and allowing him to play multiple positions and excel at every one of them.
Are you back to your old self from that injury? Do you ever deal with it in practice? Do you still feel it?
I think I am. It was a little tough at the very beginning of the spring, just getting back in the field of things. I hadn't taken a full speed rep in probably 6-7 months. So it was definitely difficult coming back, but I think I got some of the rust knocked off of it now.
Why was it you were able to return on special teams? I guess punt shield. I don't remember if you were on anything else, but why were you able to do that but not the first team?
Because I didn't have to push off anybody and move a 340-pound man standing in front of me. On that, I just had to sit there and take a blow. So they felt like I could take up space and keep the punter safe. So that's what we did.
Were you afraid at all of anything that might happen on punt shield or anything?
No, you can't really think about stuff like that whenever you're in there. And you honestly don't think about stuff like that whenever it's actually in the moment. But just looking back at it, I don't think that there was ever a time where I was just like, oh, I'm kind of scared to go in here because something might happen. But I don't think that was the case.
I think you were also you were a second team a lot. So why were you just not 100%?
No, absolutely
to be a first
not.
teamer?
You could see it when I practiced and tried to run. There was still hitching my run. I was still limping real bad. So it would have been absolutely pointless for them to put me in the game because I would have been more detrimental to the team than helpful. So I had no problem with sitting out and allowing myself to get back to full health.
You mentioned going up against 340-pound man. I guess Jordan Davis, I think he's one of the guys I've seen you lock up with. Just if you can talk about his progress, and you've obviously gone up against some great D linemen. Where's Jordan at right now?
Jordan, he honestly might be the most improved player on our team just from whenever he first got in here, working on conditioning, extra stuff after practice. There was, right before spring, he was coming in every single morning working out 3 times a day in order to lose weight and get up the conditioning, that he needed to be at to be successful for us. And he's done it. There's definitely a change in his tempo of practice, seeing him run the ball, seeing him cover down and stuff like that. And, I think all that the extra stuff that he did that, most people wouldn't do. I think that he made those strides, and it's going to help him out.
Speaking of 340-pound men, what's your weight these days?
About 335.
335.
How many games were you on the special teams? Like what?
First 4, and then like last 4, I think, something like that.
I think one of the teammates, I can't remember who it was, mentioned you were the fastest lineman on the GPS. If you looked at GPS numbers this spring, is that?
We actually did look at them, and me and Andrew Thomas always kind of raced at the beginning of practice to get them up there a little bit. But yeah, 300. Well, I guess once you put pads and everything on, me and him was probably pushing about 350, 355, something like that. And, you know, him and I both are pushing 19 miles an hour, so you know that's not too bad. And that hats go off to the strength staff for that one, because that's who gets us in shape for that.
Are you faster than some of the position guys? I mean, is there been any talk about that?
Nah, I mean, we don't really pay attention. We just kind of see who wins it for the big guys for the day.
What did you?
Y'all run, man.
Sorry?
How far do y'all run? Y'all do that little race.
Just 20 yards, just a little sprint. Not much.
What did you do in the weight room this winter? What was that video of you? What was the weight? What was the rep? I'm talking about. I think they popped something up there of you doing.
Squat, maybe?
Was it squat? Okay.
Squat, power clean, something other like that.
I mean, did you do anything that numbers wise that topped your best or whatever?
Yeah, our power clean's definitely, you know, I hit what I was been wanting to hit since I was in high school, pretty much, that 4 or 5 mark. You know, just because it's something that a lot of people can't do, and you know, I was definitely a little worried about it. You know, coming back off of that leg like we talked about, but you know, once I got in there, started getting warmed up and stuff like that, everything felt like it was back to normal, no issues anymore.
Was there a record or something? I don't know if you guys have.
I have no idea.
Okay.
That Missouri game, I guess, was game 4. You started the last 5 games of your redshirt freshman year. You know, did it feel like it was almost at the worst time? You must have really felt like you were in a flow, you're really developing, and then to have that happen.
You know, yeah, I mean, obviously it was at a bad time, but it's one of those things that you can't control. So there's really nothing that I can, you know, shake my head about or, you know, be negative about. Oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. I just had to take it in stride and go where I went with it. So
I don't know if anybody around here other than Andrew can like say they definitely have a starting spot ever with the way Coach Pittman recruits, but it you know you would, it seemed that the time were entrenching yourself, and then because Cade gets experience, Trey gets experience, Jamari's coming on, and Isaiah running. I mean, it makes every practice like that much more important on the O-line. Try and have a role.
I mean, I don't feel like it really changes anything from what we've been doing, because we've always had great competitors here, great competition every day in practice. So, you know, losing one guy and, you know, having guys push up on him for competition, I don't feel like that's changing anything here.
What do you think of Trey Hill at center with Lamont had a lot of experience? How's he doing?
He's making unbelievable strides. You know, Trey's come a long ways from being more vocal. And, you know, last year there was a couple times where he just got thrown into the mix and he wasn't really ready for it, but he went out there and performed. So,
Thanks.
With all the success that you've had, how has your life changed on campus and back home in Toccoa?
you know, that's kind of a hard question to answer, honestly. You know, obviously people can recognize me and stuff like that, but, you know, it's one of them things. At the end of the day, I'm still a small-town kid, one way or another, whichever way you look at it, and that's what I'm going to be. You know, I'm still going to go out. I'm going to fish on the weekends. I'm going to do what, you know, redneck kids do. And, you know, I don't believe that I'll ever change that, no matter whatever comes with it.
Does some of that have to do with the fact that, I mean, I remember going and visiting you as a recruit and 15 years old, and, you know, you weren't much smaller than you are now. Is it the fact that, you know, you've kind of got that you've haven't been known as Big Ben Cleveland for so long from where you're at, and everybody just knows who you are and
you know,
what you're about?
That's kind of got a little bit to do with it. And I mean, not many families are blessed enough to say that they've had, you know, 2 kids play D1 ball. My brother playing 4 years of baseball at Georgia Southern. So, you know, it helped build a name for our family. And, you know, I hope one day that we can reach the benefits of that.
Can you tell me about your boots?
What about them?
I mean, what is your shoe size? These don't count as the questions.
17.
These are 17 extra wides.
Extra wides. Are these your best pair, or do you have a lot of pairs?
I got a couple pairs. These are my, I won't say dressy pair, but these are my comfy pair. I can just throw on in the mornings and go.
Most guys that come up here are still like wearing, you know, they're like Jeremiah, whatever, like, you know, kind of just regular pants. You know, I mean, you look like you're ready, like you said, to go
Oh,
hunting,
yeah, 'cause I'm
fishing,
ready to go
or
home.
Cowboy.
We just got done. I'm going to take a nap. When I get- huh? Well, I mean, this is what I wore to school
I don't see
today,
many guys
so-
in jeans. I'll put it that way.
Oh no, this is what I wore around campus today. So this is what I got to wear home.
So you and Cade get into a tie for who's going to win that right guard spot, and they decide to break it by cutting a hog loose on the field. Who's gonna win the job? Who's going to take him down?
That'll be me, without a doubt.
Any more questions? Thanks, Ben.
Thanks,
Yep.
Ben.
Thank you.
You have a question.